What's up guys, Derek, moreplates.com. Today we're going to be talking about this brutal story. This is 26-year-old Patrick. He is a big bodybuilder, and this is what I saw on the Natty or Juice subreddit. According to the comments he got like that because of gear, they say he admits it on his Instagram. They speak a different language, so I can't actually go like read their comments necessarily, but this is a TikTok that went viral recently. I'll just go to I'll play it here first. Okay, so he had 70 minutes long cardiac arrest before the doctors got his heart beating again, and of course this has copyrighted music on it, so I'm gonna have to mute this shit. Doctor said he would never wake up out of coma again. They even declared him brain dead. I'm just going to open it in here. So this is the actual original, 71.5 million views. All right, so getting back to the part we were at. So he's not a quitter, and he proved them all wrong. With God's help, he fought his way back, doing the old pec bounce here. Still has good spirits. Got a severe brain injury, but that was not enough to defeat him. Here he is in some rehabilitation. He fought every day so hard to get back home to me. Can't explain how proud I am of him. After 5 months, he came back home. She is his full-time caregiver now. It's so hard, but it would be harder losing him. And here he is, her fighter. And this is the before. 2 months before his cardiac arrest. So you see this guy is massive as fuck. And the shocking and terrifying thing about this is how he's, like, not only that this happened in general, but the fact that he is 26 years old. Like, if you go to her TikTok, this was the cake he made for his 26th birthday. I have surprised him only a month before his cardiac arrest. So he just turned 26, dude. 26. I'm so sorry to read this. I made him a cake a year or so ago, Rita. Yes, you did. The cake you made for his 26th birthday. I've surprised him with only a month before his cardiac arrest. Okay, it's just playing the thing. So anyways, obviously a lot of the comments are a little bit, some insensitive ones. Lay off the roids. Please say he stopped the toxic to his body. Roids aged him significantly. Sad man, stay away from any kind. And this, kids, is why you don't take roids. Wow, I'm 30 and he looks way older. Wait, he went into cardiac arrest at 27? Sadly, never too young for anything. I work in cardiology. How is he now? See her other videos. So anyways, he is, at home, obviously significantly downsized now and going through rehabilitation stuff. But this is a scenario that I can't say for certain could have otherwise been prevented through proactive measures, but you can't help but think being significantly oversized, having that much muscle in your frame that supports, like, has nutrient demands, like significantly exceeding that of, the normal average weight human. In addition, the amount of food you are putting in yourself on a constant basis to maintain and build on that size, never giving your body a break to enter a state of autophagy. You're always in a state of spiking mTOR to try and build and maintain that ridiculous amount of mass. And you're on a copious amount of anabolic hormones likely, and growth hormone potentially, and insulin potentially. And it's just fucking wild that at this age, like, this is the kind of stuff that goes overlooked because for a while, it was always, there was this saying, it's like, where's the deaths when it comes to steroid use? And it's like, you just don't hear a lot of them being reported because some of them have been so obscure with guys who aren't like huge names in the industry. And you have to understand, a lot of the best bodybuilders are not just the best bodybuilders because they hyper respond to drugs. It's also they're able to tolerate them better. So there are a lot of guys behind the scenes like this who are also bodybuilding, going hardcore in the lifestyle presumably, and end up with a very bad complication at an age that's absolutely like mind-boggling to think about. So here he is now, as of 1 day ago. I used to work out with Patrick every time I visited him on the rehabilitation facility. Okay, it's always these copyrighted songs. I used to record everything so I could see his progress. Sometimes you can forget where you started. Okay, I don't know if this is a recent video or it's like a throwback to, throwback to when he was, you know, in the hospital, presumably. Sometimes you can forget where you started if you don't have anything to compare it to. Your commitment to your man is amazing. You are his angel. God bless you. You are a great person. I pray for the both of you. I pray he recovers. My husband got shot twice in the head and recovered. Me and you have been blessed as fighters. They are true miracles. These roids made his heart stop. And this is, I don't know, a picture beforehand too. First wedding on, in 2020 was canceled. So we moved the wedding to June 2021. And then the cardiac arrest happened. Can't wait to marry my best friend. Like, look how fucking, like, it's fucking insane, dude. Absolutely insane. Look at your lock screen. That's your reason to keep going. I remind myself that maybe someday we will be like this again. Horrible. I'm kind of shocked she posts these TikToks like this. I don't know, like I would think this is, I don't know, this is private, but at the same time, it's also giving, I don't know, it's like harm reduction in some capacity. And that's like mainly the reason I'm even making a video about it too. My fiance was dead in 70 minutes. He had cardiac arrest and ended up with severe brain injury. But like, she's literally making these videos like from like nothing really else. She wasn't like a big social media influencer for what I can tell, but then started posting about this stuff because potentially it might save somebody else from having this happen. I don't know if that's even the reason, or if she's just monitoring progress and whatnot, and this is her outlet or what. But at the end of the day, this guy clearly, I imagine, I would speculate, had some complications as a result of the bodybuilding lifestyle. And it's unfortunate that over the years, the kind of perception has been like this, where are the bodies reference that, you know, you've heard time and time again. You know, you can't overdose on anabolic steroids, you can overdose on stimulants or Tylenol, and that's way more dangerous. And it's like, yeah, acutely that kind of shit is more dangerous, but the insidious nature of anabolics is they will fuck up your heart, your kidneys, your liver, etc. long term. Now again, is there a way to do them safely, or a way to do them in a way that is attenuating the damage or minimizing the impact that they can have? Sure, there's a more, you know, reasonable approach to them for sure. And who knows, you know, what this guy was doing. He looks pretty fucking huge. I would say he's probably, I would speculate, pushing the envelope more than the average, you know, juicer. But again, a lot of guys push the envelope hard who will never look like this too, never get to this kind of size. And they think that, oh, the pros have a secret I don't. They're just pushing higher dosages, when in reality, they're just genetically not responding the same, or, you know, their diet's fucking shitty or whatever, and they're still exposing themselves to the drugs unnecessarily, potentially. So there was articles made about this. Life-changing. My fit and healthy fiance suffered a cardiac arrest for 70 minutes, left him brain dead. And it's basically summarizing essentially what we just talked about, but it's a pretty terrifying thing. It gives a explanation of how to perform CPR. And at the end of the day, what is the takeaway from this? It is that you need to be aware of ancillaries, especially. I think a lot of people go into bodybuilding knowing about aromatase inhibitors, selective estrogen receptor modulators like Novadex, Clomid, etc., but they don't really know about things like angiotensin receptor blockers, things like beta blockers for, you know, calming down the heart and getting somebody out of a sympathetically dominant, like prevalent state that is perpetual when you're on high doses of androgens, when you are especially on things that are bleeding into your system. You know, when you have a chronic bleed of like trenbolone and anthate or some shit, or even trinacetate with stable blood serum concentrations, like these things cause changes in your psychology and your neurochemistry to a point where you could end up in a state of like heightened fight or flight, like fucking all the time, to a point where your body is never getting a chance to rest, and you end up in a compromised position from a cardiovascular aspect, from a neurological aspect, from many different aspects that you are hindered negatively, not just like your fertility, your fucking ball size, all this stuff, you know, gynecomastia, acne, you hear these side effects, but the insidious ones, you know, blood pressure, chronic elevation of it, leading to kidney deterioration, leading to left ventricular hypertrophy, leading to actual cardiomegaly and dysfunction down the line, to a point where you just have a random episode of fucking cardiac arrest. Like, these are things that need to be thought of ahead of time. You know, just because you're 21 or 22 or whatever, and you can get away with the exposure right now and come out like fairly unscathed, it doesn't mean there's not insidious damage going on. It doesn't mean there's not plaque accumulating in your fucking arteries right now and calcification downstream to that. there, like even Antoine Vaillant, a guy who otherwise like had no idea what was going on, he mentioned how he was in like the 99th percentile for plaque buildup, and he's in his like early to mid 30s right now for his age bracket. That was like, and he's still going to continue bodybuilding, which is, you know, some people see as a very, very unwise decision. And hopefully he, you know, takes a very careful, balanced approach. I don't see how he's going to be able to continue at a high level personally. I think he can maintain, you know, like being in pro shows and like winning some shit. But I mean, like ultimately, if you're predisposed to this stuff, this is like, I don't think he can do it like safely at all. Like, to be honest, this is something that he's going to have to be constantly on top of. And ultimately, if you notice something like that may be your sign that you're the genetically predisposed one who, you know, caught it in time. And he's an example, hopefully, of somebody who got ahead of it. You know, he could have got ahead of it much earlier though. And that's why it's not just about your blood tests, which again, most guys just aren't even getting blood work. It's about, and it's shocking, like even guys who I've audited their stuff at the Olympia level, very infrequent blood tests sometimes. Like they often, you know, you preach this kind of stuff, but not everyone really like is as dialed in as, you know, they would even hope, or, you know, they portray in videos and whatnot. It's something that is very, very important if you're blasting, like a lot of times at all, to be fucking honest. Like this is something that you need to take seriously, and even baseline imaging, I think, would be warranted, to be honest. Like some individuals are just, you know, at a genetic predisposition from a structural aspect and like functional aspect, whereby their organs may not be able to support any additional stress, whereby, you know, your heart function, like, are you somebody who should be using anabolics if you have like a baseline fucking arrhythmia, or you have this or you have that? Like these are things that should be accounted for. It's not just your blood work. Does my RBC look in range? Does my liver enzymes look in range? Like these things do not account for like structural abnormalities necessarily represented in your blood work. So just because your biomarkers look good transiently when you come off for 4 weeks a year, like this is not an excuse to just blast your fucking face off, because there are individuals that are ending up dead or severely impaired, and some like with literal disabilities for lifelong because of the lifestyle. And this is something that should be part of the lifestyle, is proactive stuff like this. Like you watch this video or this video, the most protective drugs to prevent bodybuilders from dying, talk about lipid management, modulation of blood pressure, direct inhibition of cardiac remodeling, practices you should avoid, like why you should avoid UGL gear if you can. Like a lot of people still use, you know, UGL compounds because it's, you know, cheaper, more cost effective, but it's like, you know, carrier oil toxicity even is a huge cause of high C-reactive protein levels and inflammation in the body. This is something that I think Steve from Vigorous Steve YouTube channel has been one of the most, shed the most light on. Like a lot of people don't realize like how toxic even the fucking thing your drug is in is for your body. So that's why, you know, pharmaceutical grade is like ideal and shit like that. Like there's a lot of stuff that goes overlooked, and it really needs to be taken seriously. And I think highlighting an obscure case, like I guess the fact that TikTok exists and puts on people who have really small followings and just like blows up their stuff if it's viral content, I guess in some ways it's good because it provides harm reduction for stuff like this. Like, would this guy's story have even gotten out otherwise if this video didn't blow up? Like, maybe not even. Like, when I checked, there was 2 articles online actually. When I double checked, I thought there was a bunch, but it turns out there's only 2. And that's after a fucking 71.5 million view video. And like, it's not like it's well known in the bodybuilding industry that this is going on. You know, when Dallas McCarver passed, we were like, oh my fucking God, like a 26-year-old or whatever he was at the time. And a lot of people chalked it up to the dosages he was using, the size he was, the excessive growth hormone probably that he was probably using. But there are obscure outlier situations too with individuals like this, who he's still fucking massive by all accounts. But I mean, like, there are outlier scenarios that you're not invincible. You know, everyone has some organ durability and propensity to, you know, blood pressure modulation and even neurological issues like that come from anabolic steroid exposure. These things should all be considered and taken very seriously in a more balanced approach with the preventative kind of like, I don't know, a strategy whereby you assess any genetic predispositions ahead of time, and your baseline panels, especially like getting even a baseline, you know, blood test, like obviously a fucking no-brainer before you touch anything. Ideally imaging too. And, you know, being open to having a doctor who understands what kind of risks you're putting on yourself and is non-judgmental about things like ARBs, beta blockers, ezetimibe, you know, even fucking statins potentially might be necessary for some bodybuilders realistically. So that's it, man. Bit of a somber fucking video, but I feel it's a video worth making for sure. And I hope that he continues to make recovery and, you know, they live a happy life, because this is really fucking sad to see. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, check out my blog, replacemoredates.com. Follow me on Instagram, I'm replacemoredates, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, Apple Podcasts. If you want to support the channel, you can check out anything I'm associated with in the video description below. My preventative medicine, hormone replacement therapy platform. You can get connected with medical providers who understand the risks of stuff like this and understand the importance of ancillaries, are non-judgmental and actually know how to interpret your biomarkers based on the needs of athletes, especially. Like, for example, not saying, calculating your glomerular filtration rate using estimations based on creatinine, but rather using cystatin C, actually checking for, you know, obscure but very, very important cutting edge biomarkers like Lp(a). These are things that should all be accounted for by your overseeing provider, and you can count on when you use us is getting a high quality insights into stuff that most people are not continuously educating themselves on as the years go on, when we learn more and more. Because, like, you know, years ago, I didn't know shit about this kind of stuff. I was just told, take your 500 tests, shut the fuck up, and take your AI, and like, that's it. You know, like, that was the ancillaries. Like, that's all we knew. You want to like modulate your lipids, bro? Like, go get, I don't know, fucking niacin. Like, that's it. Like, you want to modulate it, go get your red yeast rice, and that's it. Like, that's the only thing you can do. Or alternatively, like blood pressure, you know, what the fuck, like ARB, like what is that, you know? What's a ACE inhibitor? Like, no one knew this shit, you know, a couple of years ago, even a few years ago, like I don't think anyone was really talking about this stuff. And it's almost like the new developments in the bodybuilding world are becoming more longevity minded and proactive, I think, which is great. Because I'm starting to see more general knowledge and consensus around the introduction, or at least consideration of things like, you know, proactive imaging, or continuously getting like imaging to assess your longitudinal data as you continuously expose yourself to this kind of a lifestyle, as well as proactive, you know, ancillaries and whatnot when appropriate, if warranted, based on your medical provider's assessment, of course. So yeah, anything else I'm associated with, if you want to support me, it's all in the video description below. Recommended diet model for gaining muscle and sports performance whilst being mindful of micronutrient intake and overall health. Clothing company that sponsors me, nootropics, pre-workout formulas I design myself from scratch, anything else I'm associated with, it's all in the video description below. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.